There are some very practical reasons why printed books are so important, and largely because you do actually own them. You can't leave your e-library to anybody. You can't bequeath your Kindle library to your grandchildren, for example, because you don't own it, you just license it. So if you want to possess something, you have to possess the physical book.
As a biologist, I have to say that printed books are one of a very important category of things which Richard Dawkins has called memes. That is to say, they are things in which the human experience is embedded and handed on from generation to generation, but outside the body. They're nothing to do with the sort of genes, which, you know, he called them memes. And they are the way in which one generation passes on experience and knowledge and wisdom over generations. And that's why, fundamentally, books are important.
They're important because they contain knowledge. If you were to sort of suddenly get rid of all printed books in the world, it would be a frighteningly stupid place.
You know, we read our emails on a screen, we read the news on a screen, we read a lot on a screen, and actually reading it in a different context where it is a book, it is in and of itself. You aren't constantly clicking at links or looking things up. It's its own entity, and I think that's really important.
The whole feeling of a book, the paper, the type, all those magical things about them, that they give you an actual sensation when you're handling them and reading them that I think will be there for all time.
I like to be able to share my books and like being given books, and it's a way of communicating with a friend or a loved one.
And there is something about a physical book that puts you into a different mind space, because it's about taking you somewhere else, and whether that's for knowledge or information or pleasure, it isn't about dealing with the gas company on the phone or looking up something on Google Maps. It's completely separate from that.
For me, it's a very reflective process, and I find it easier to reflect with fewer distractions. So the better made the book, the better made a printed book, you have so few distractions. You're not annoyed by bad typography. Good typography is simply fewer distractions, and good illustration simply adds to the experience. So for me, that's the value of a printed book.
With a physical book, there's something that whenever I get to the end of a book, because you've had the bookmark, every time you close it, because you're coming back to it, you sort of put the bookmark back in. There's something quite nice about when you finish it, you don't put the bookmark in, you just close it.
Screens are never ever going to furnish a room the way books are. They're never going to give that feeling of solidity and warmth and welcome. They're never going to demonstrate the great accumulation of knowledge. You think of the feeling you get walking into any of the historic libraries. I mean, Trinity College, Dublin, the Codrington in Oxford. You are immediately aware of the extraordinary depth and breadth of human knowledge represented by these books. You're never going to get that sensation. And if we devalue knowledge, we really have had it, haven't we?